Hi, welcome back to Book Chats from Lonsdale Public Library. As you can see, I'm cheating again. I'm doing movies instead of books. And as I'm sure you know, one of the sort of biggest things to happen in movies in the last couple decades is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if you're a giant nerd like me, you watch them all and know all the characters. But if you're just a regular person who maybe has seen a couple or means to start watching them, how do you know which ones to watch and which ones not to watch? And as I say, watch them all if you want to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a really quick spin through them and talk about which ones are sort of crucial if you want to be part of the conversation and which ones are more optional. You can approach it through the order they were released in, but I'm going to go through internal chronology as if because it all happens in the same universe and it starts in the 40s and goes until now. So we have most of the movies in the library, but a few of them were not available at the moment, so some of them you're going to have to imagine. Starting with Captain America, the First Avenger. This is the one that starts the whole thing. It's about a spunky, skinny kid from Brooklyn called Steve Rogers, who is so desperate to be part of World War II that he agrees to be part of an experiment to make him into a superhero, Captain America. It's a lot of fun, a little corny, definitely optional. Then we jump ahead in time with Captain Marvel, which is, in this movie, we meet a member of the alien Kree Star Force called Veers, who has missing memories. And when she follows the equally alien Skrulls to Earth in 1995, she ends up being forced to question everything she knows about herself and the universe. It's got fun 90s fashions. It's enjoyable, but again, optional. Then we get to Iron Man. This was the very first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie to be released. It's about Tony Stark, who's a brilliant, arrogant, kind of party boy weapons manufacturer. But when he's captured by terrorists, he has a change of heart. He builds his first Iron Man suit and decides to become a superhero. This one's mandatory. This is where it all begins. If you're gonna watch any, you probably should start with the first Iron Man. Then it's followed shortly by Iron Man 2, which again, there's a new bad guy on the scene who is using Tony's own sort of technology against him, and he has to defeat the bad guy. It's fun, but I would say this one's more optional. If you're really into Tony Stark, watch it, but you can skip it if you just want to get the core. Then The Incredible Hulk features mild-mannered scientist Bruce Banner, who has a bit of a problem, which is that when he gets angry, he turns into a giant rage monster called the Hulk. And he's seeking a cure, but meanwhile, General Thunderbolt Ross wants him under control and creates his own monster, which does not help things. Definitely optional. There's even some debate at Marvel as to whether this is canon or not. And moving on, we get to Thor. Don't have Thor in front of me. But as you may know, he's the god of thunder. But he's banished to Earth from Asgard by his father Odin to learn a lesson about being responsible. So he meets a human scientist called Jane Foster and tries to learn about being human, but his brother Loki, the god of mischief, can't help but cause, mischief. Again, lots of fun, but optional. Then we get to the Avengers. So this one is as mandatory as it gets to me. If you're only going to watch one movie out of these 25, this is the one. It's a year after the events of Thor. Loki's back, trying to take over the Earth with an alien army lent to him by the super bad guy, Thanos, which leads to the creation of the Avengers. So we get Cap, Iron Man, a reluctant Hulk, Thor, plus Black Widow and Hawkeye, team up, big battle in New York, lots of fun. Watch that one for sure. Then we have Thor: The Dark World, Thor's back on Earth. He runs into Jane, who has accidentally absorbed the ether, which is a very powerful substance that will kill her. So Thor has to team up with his wayward brother Loki to trick the dark elf Malekith into saving her. Again, fun if you like Thor, definitely optional. Iron Man 3. Tony's having a little trouble after the Battle of New York. He is a little paranoid. He wants to keep everyone safe, so he keeps making Iron Man suits, one after the other. So he goes after a bomber called the Mandarin, but it turns out there's a lot more to the story than that. Again, big fun action Iron Man, optional. Next we have Captain America the Winter Soldier. Cap's adjusting to the present day when an assassin called the Winter Soldier starts causing trouble for S.H.I.E.L.D., the organization that Cap has gone to work for in the present day. But it turns out it's actually Cap's old buddy Bucky, who did not die in World War II, but was captured, brainwashed, and frozen by Hydra, who are also not as gone as we hoped they were. This is a great movie. It's one of my favorites. And also, it does sort of set up the future continuity, so I'd say that one is mandatory. Then we come to the Guardians of the Galaxy. So out in space, Star-Lord steals the powerful Infinity Stone, but little does he know that Thanos' adopted daughter Gamora and bounty hunters Rocket and Groot are also after this stone. They all get sent to prison where they meet Drax, and this ragtag group have to save the day. It's got a great soundtrack. It's a lot of fun. There's also, it's immediately followed by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where they meet Star-Lord's dad, Ego, who, as you might guess, is getting a little full of himself. They're really fun movies, but not really strictly necessary in terms of continuity. Then we get to Avengers Age of Ultron. Tony Stark's latest plan to protect humanity is an artificially intelligent robot called Ultron. Unfortunately, Ultron is less interested in protecting humanity and more interested in enslaving humanity. So the Avengers have to reassemble along with new additions, twins Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. So obviously, anytime you got the whole team together, you gotta watch it. Then we get to Ant-Man, which I don't have before me. Ex-con Scott Lang breaks into the house of Hank Pym and steals his Ant-Man suit, but it turns out that this was actually a test set up by Hank to see if Scott could be the next Ant-Man and become a superhero. It's a little lighter in tone than some of the other ones. Lots of fun. Optional. Then Captain America Civil War. The UN wants the Avengers to submit to government control. Tony Stark, Iron Man, says yes. Captain America says no. And the lines are drawn. The Avengers split into two camps. And when King T'Chaka of Wakanda is murdered, supposedly by Cap's old buddy, Bucky / the Winter Soldier, the Black Panther enters into this, and he swears revenge. Definitely mandatory for the big fight between the two sides, if nothing else. And also it sets up things that come later. Then the next one after that is Black Widow, which is one of the most recent movies. We don't even have the DVD yet. But Natasha, the Black Widow, is on the run after the last movie when she discovers that the Red Room organization that tortured her as a child and turned her into a weapon is still out there. And so she sets out to rescue all the other Black Widows. Gotta love a movie with a female lead, but it's optional. Then we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Young Peter Parker / Spider-Man is balancing high school and being a superhero. But when he goes after an arms dealer, Iron Man has to rescue him, so he takes back the suit he made for him. But suit or no suit, Spidey can't help being a hero. Fun, charming little movie, optional. Then we have Black Panther. Remember the Black Panther? After the death of his father, T'Challa, the Black Panther, returns to Wakanda to take his place as king. but he discovers that Wakandan artifacts are being sold. And meanwhile, a pretender to the throne, another candidate, shows up. And T'Challa has to figure out who he is and what's best for his people. So it's not strictly mandatory from an Avengers timeline standpoint, but it's such a good movie. Highly recommended. Doctor Strange. Brilliant but arrogant surgeon Dr. Stephen Strange loses the ability to do surgery, so he studies sorcery, as you do, and has to confront evil. Again, optional. Then we come to Thor Ragnarok. Thor returns to Asgard to discover that his brother Loki is alive and impersonating their father Odin, who's dying. Unfortunately, when Odin dies, their previously unknown older sister Hela appears and takes over Asgard and plans to wage war on the rest of the universe. So this is it's an exciting one. Again, not mandatory, but loads of fun. Ant-Man and the Wasp. We have, again, Scott, the Ant-Man, is under house arrest after Civil War. But Hope, Hank Pym's daughter, and Hank need his help to rescue her mom, Hope's mom, Janet, from the quantum realm. Fun adventure, optional. Then we get to, these are actually two movies that go together. Avengers Infinity War. Thanos, who has been pulling the strings all along, is already in possession of the Power Stone, and he sets out to collect the rest of the Infinity Stones, which together will give him godlike powers. The Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, basically every superhero you've ever met, team up to try to prevent it. So I would say be sure to check out Endgame at the same time, because when you finish this one, you're really going to want to start this one. And absolutely mandatory. I mean, this is the big finale. So after Infinity War comes Endgame. This is the big climax. I don't want to give up too much if you haven't seen Infinity War, but it's been 5 years. The world's still trying to adjust to what happened. And Ant-Man returns from the quantum realm with a brilliant idea. Huge, epic finale. Laughter, tears. Totally, totally mandatory, because this is what it's all been leading to. And then just sort of after the climax, there have been a couple of movies so far. Spider-Man Far From Home. Peter goes on a school trip to Europe. And of course, there's monsters, and he has to fight them. Fun, but optional. And Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Shang-Chi is attacked by his father's criminal organization, the Ten Rings. And he goes to find his sister, but it turns out his father wants to take them to the realm of the dead, and he's being manipulated. It's a whole thing. I haven't actually seen this one yet. And then there's 4 TV series that are part of this, but I would say, all right, so here's your list. Iron Man, Avengers, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Endgame. Those are your mandatory set. All right, thank you.